All right, we're gonna do an update on the car. Made the last race of the year yesterday. It did really good. It ran we only got one pass. It ran a 5:52 at 126 miles an hour, and we ran a whole quarter mile, and it ran a 8:67 at 153 miles an hour. I kind of limited the boost at the end of the track because the RPMs gets a little high, and I can valve floats a little bit. Doesn't like running up there above 7,700 RPMs, and that's about where it was. But most of the track was at 25 pounds of boost. I launched at 5 pounds of boost, and it all ramps in within 1 second. It had a 125 60 foot, which was pretty good. The track was definitely sticky. Front end was pretty well under control. You can see in some of the videos I shared, it was actually pretty good. So a little bit about the motor, because we're going to take this motor out, and we're going to put in an LC9 that we're building up, save some weight, and get some better rods. These are still Gen 3 rods. They been through a lot, maybe like 80 or 85 passes at least. Most of them are in the fives, a little bit in the six for the first like month or two that we raced it last year. But it ran a lot of 560s, a lot of 570s, and now it's been running 550s. It's just run really good. A little bit about the motor. It is all the stock bottom end. I didn't even have to file the rings. They were gapped out at like 26, 27, 28 thou when I checked them when we first got the motor, and I took it apart. But I didn't actually have to file anything. It's an old motor. It's like a long crank version where it had iron heads on it, and it was pretty old, man. It's from like 99, 2000, and must have been worn pretty well. But everything else is stock except for the cam and the valve springs. Retainers aren't stock either because they came with the valve springs. But the trunnions are all stock style. The oil pump isn't even shimmed. It's stock, and the oil pressure has been horrible the whole time. You know, if I'm running yesterday at 7,700 RPMs, oil pressure is about 60, 65 at best, which isn't terrible, but it's never been high. We actually mixed it with some race gas. E85, we made it to a 50% ethanol on a flex fuel sensor to try and make my fuel injectors last a little longer so I could, turn up the boost, which worked out well. The injector duty cycle was still around 90%, 95% at times. It was pretty high. And that's what the fuel pressure was maintaining, though. It was about 70, 75 PSI of fuel pressure. The base is right around 50, which everything worked like it should. The fuel injectors are only 120 pound per hour ones. They're the Holley ones. We need bigger ones. I never thought those fuel injectors would support a Gen 3 rod motor. I thought I would have broke it by now, to be honest. Never thought of it. This turbo is doing good, though. It's S485, a 132 AR, the 9688 turbine T6. It's running really well. The intercooler's still working pretty well. It's a 4-inch one. It's just the biggest one Summit Racing sells. Somebody was asking me about the wastegate. That works really well. It was actually a Summit brand, which says Summit on it. But it's actually a VS Racing Gen 3 piston style one. It's worked really well. I never had any problems with it. Also, when I first bought it, it kind of leaked a lot, so you had to, I lapped the valve on it, like you would lap valves on an engine. But that's been working well. The MAC controllers have been working well. That's all Amazon stuff, the MAC valves, the pressure sensors. The only thing that's really not like cheaply done is I don't know. There's not much on it that's not cheaply done. It's got low dollar motorsports on some of the sensors, like the map sensor and the shock sensors. But as for like the LS stuff on it, it's pretty cheap also in Terminator X. I mean, I just want people to know how far you can take one of these little motors. I know a lot of people have taken them pretty far. I don't know if a lot of people talk about how to keep them alive. From what I've seen, you want to keep the RPMs up there. Mine's got like a 5,500 stall, and it launches at about 56, 5,500 before you can see it on the RPMs and before it moves. But I don't run a lot of boost off the line because I have 410 rear end gears in here, so I can't launch too much, or it's just real violent on the suspension and wants to do wheelies. It's hard to control. The rear end ratio is pretty high, or the starting line ratio, so I run lower boost. So by the time the boost starts to get up there, my RPMs are already above 6,500 RPMs, and I shifted at about 73, 74, and it drops back about 600 RPMs. So and sometimes I shift a little higher, 7,500 RPMs. And if I do that, it might drop back to 6,900 RPMs. It's just staying around 65 and up. It seems to make it live, keeping it 6,500 and up because it keeps the torque off of the rods. especially these Gen 3 rods. Like I said, there's a lot of times I leaned it out and I should have blew the thing up, or I had a fuel injectors problems because the AFR wasn't right, and there's been a lot of problems, but the motor's held up. So these motors are good motors. So that's it for us for the year. I'll probably do a little update on changing this other motor out, but for now, this one made it 2 whole years without any problems. So these LS motors are definitely it. That's it. I'll let you guys see some updates later.